Fred on a little ride, and then I can show you our evening routine. Come back, come back, come back. Hello. Okay, we're back, and I didn't film any of that because somebody decided that puddles, trees and pheasants were terrifying, which is a slight problem since the bridle paths go through the woods. Where are you going? Oh wow, wow. So yeah, let's get on with it. So after telling Freddie my expectations for him, Fred, you can't be scared of puddles. You're 15.
I don't really care what you say. You're still going to give me treats, right?
After our discussion, I had to wash him off because although we don't know what breed he is, he has a very thick coat, so he gets quite sweaty easily. Because Maria's feeds don't need to soak, I normally make them up in the morning, so she just gets a cup of Balancer and then half a scoop of chaff, which is the same as her morning one, which you saw in a video a little while ago. So there it is, a little half scoop, which goes right into her bucket. I will give it a mix up later, but she needs some Stopleys Gold to keep her joints all moving and grooving, even though she's not doing any work at the moment, but still give her a little bit of joint supplement and then a splash of water to make it nice to eat. After Maria's, we've then got to make up the boys' feeds. I think I explained in my last video that Thunder was being a little bit fussy, eating his food. Like, he'd get a metre away from his food and then be like, no, I don't want to eat it, which is a slight problem because we're trying to make him gain weight. And so we started grating carrots into his feed. Honestly, we'd do anything for this horse. Yes, it does take a little bit of while to grate the carrot in, but at least he's eating his feed now. And once the carrot is all grated into his feed, it's then time to mix everybody's feeds up. So there's Freddy's as well, and then Tiny's gonna have a bit of a mix. And once that's all done, I'm gonna chuck in some apples. So these apples are actually homegrown, so no chemicals or anything on them. They're just basically fresh off the tree. And we give them a couple of apples each, like sometimes even 5 because we've got so many. And it's then time to feed the boys. So Freddy gets fed first because his stable is nearest, and then Maria is gonna get her feed once I've left the stable and closed the door because I don't want Freddy escaping. He's never done that before, but you don't want to risk it. So Maria's gonna have her food now. We make sure to give them their food slightly further in their stable to make them walk back rather than like rushing towards us. Gets a little pat, and it's off to feed the other two, the oldies, the 20-year-olds, because they get fed in the field rather than in the stable. But before I go and do that, I'm just going to grab some rugs for Thunder so you can have a bit of a change of clothes, dump that in the wheelbarrow with the buckets, and then I will be able to go off and see them. So when we go up to the fields, I'm going to feed Thunder first because he is always dancing around and very excited to see me. And then after I've done that, I'm going to go and find Tiny. Tiny's actually blind, and so he can't actually see where his food is, and so to get him to come over and find his bucket, I normally end up banging it up and down and kind of calling out to him. Come on, you're almost there. Some days this can definitely take longer than others, but he always finds it. Good boy, come on. Due to Tiny's eyes, I always give them a little bit of a check to see if they're not too gunked up or that he hasn't stuck something in them, because sometimes he lays down or puts bits of twigs in them, which isn't ideal. I'm going to grab Thunder's rug and change it. Because we're really trying to gain some weight on Thunder, that's why he's rugged the whole time. Obviously, in an ideal world, they'd be out with no rugs like Tiny, but it helps to, you know, get a bit of weight on him if he's not focusing his fat stores on trying to stay warm. I don't know if that made any sense. Yes. Next we're going to do some poo picking, which again is not my absolute favourite job in the world, but it's got to be done to keep the fields nice and tidy. It did not look this fast when I was doing it. I did speed it up. I'm not that fast runner. But yeah, just speeding along, trying to get all the poo up. So the horses' fields are right next to a cow field, and they've just moved in there for the night. I just thought I'd show you because the cows are really cute. Literally just like appearing from the corner over there. There was actually just one a second ago, and now I don't know how many there are, but they're just really cute. Hello! Hello there! Oh. So after saying hello to all of the little cow friends, I had to go back to poo picking, which Thunder can be a bit annoying because he poos all over the field, unlike Tiny and Freddy, who are actually very helpful. Then I did all the waters, so the hose doesn't quite reach, so I had to fill up a bucket, and then the bucket of water goes into Thunder's. I don't know if that makes sense, but oh, they're so cute. I love them both.
Thunder does always finish his food first because, I don't know, he's just quicker eating, so he always stands kind of grumpily waiting for Tiny to finish, and then after I'd finished all of the pooping, it was then time to dump it. So we have a really big muck heap, which is great, so just dump it on there. And oh, there are a couple of apples in there because they were quite rotted, so none of the horses were going to eat them. In fact, sometimes they even spit out the bruised bits, so they were just going to go on the muck heap, which is why there are some apples there. Next was to put away Thunder's rug, so there's his short one, which was the one he changed into. I struggled a bit because I was being silly and didn't actually do the front part up very well, so that's why. And then I'm just going to grab a rug for Freddie. So Freddie has a bib, which we'll see in a second. I think I might have said in another video, but the reason he wears a bib is just because rugs don't fit him entirely well, so it means that he doesn't get rubbed on his shoulders, which is great. We don't like rubs, but he just has a little rug on to keep him from getting wet. And then it was time to grab his head collar, and then I'm going to turn him out. So unlike in morning routine, I actually turned Fred out properly. I don't know if you saw the other video, but Fred likes to take himself by himself into his stable, so here he is. He's not always the happiest to go outside. He does really like his stable, which obviously isn't very natural to live in a stable for a horse, but he likes it, so you know, whatever makes him happy. I have to say the weather's been pretty good for autumn this year. I mean, like me recording this, last week's been awful, but apart from that, it's been really nice. That's why Fred doesn't have any fill in his rug. It's literally just a rain sheet in case it does shower at night. I mean, he was a little bit clipped as well, so he was a little bit chilly. I was being stupid there and got his like headbutt caught on his nose, but he's all good. I made sure, and that's Fred all turned out. Obviously we've got one more horse to turn up, which is Maria, who if you don't know is an ex-3-star horse, which I will never stop saying because I think it's really cool that she's placed internationally. But there she goes out. She can be a little bit funny to turn out sometimes.
Oh, that's you. You're so gorgeous, aren't you? Maria doesn't get a rug because she's got enough fat and fluff to keep her warm at night.
Maria's field is right next to Fred's and Tiny's, so she has lots of friends. I quite like having the horses next to each other because at the moment none of them can be in fields together for multiple different reasons, so at least they've got a friend to talk to. Because she can be a little bit naughty sometimes, we give her an apple, and most of the time it stops her running off when we let go of her, but unfortunately it didn't seem to work today. So yeah, the broken horse decided to be a little bit stupid. Yeah, she has a bit of an injury with her leg, which is why she's back home with us. I did a video about it if you want to check out the full reasons, but yeah, she's meant to be resting and she's not always very good at doing that, but she's fun. I love Maria. So she did calm down, don't worry.
So now all the ponies are turned out in their fields. It's time to sort out their stables and make up feeds tomorrow and basically just get everything ready for the morning.
So the first job I always do when I get down from the stables is to do the hay nets. So we have to take them down from their stables. They always leave a little bit of hay, but I prefer that than them having no hay, if that makes sense. And then we'll just use it for the next day, and if they still don't eat it, then they get it chucked.
Whoa! Whoa! Hi! Hello!
Today I had the pleasure of being greeted by Tilly though, who is my favourite dog in the world. I did run out of hay, so I had to cut open a new bale, which she was very helpful with helping me with.
No, I need to cut this one.
I do absolutely adore her though, and she's literally one of my favourite dogs in the world. But yeah, so now we got some new hay to fill up all the hay nets with, although that did almost end up on the floor, but we'll just skip past that. Obviously having two horses that are stabled means there are a fair amount of hay nets, especially as they get quite full. So at the moment I think it's only 4 hay nets, but sometimes there can be up to like 6 hay nets I've got to do, which can be quite a lot. I think at one point there were even 8 hay nets, which can be quite heavy. So luckily with only 4, it's just one trip. As you can see, that's a lot of hay to bring over. So just tying them up is obviously the next job. So they only get 1 hay net in their stable at a time, and then the next will be added at lunchtime. Then for Fred's, because he has a little problem with dust, his gets soaked. So we have a big red bucket which we clear out every now and then to keep the water fresh. But his gets dunked for a little bit and then laid over the grass, and then we'll tie them up in a second. But yeah, it's literally just for dust. He doesn't have a problem with the sugar content or anything, just because otherwise he can have a little bit of a cough. So because we don't have a large place to tie it up, we normally tie the hay nets on the back of the trailer so they can dry overnight, because he doesn't like wet hay because he's a little princess. But I really love Fred. After that, it's onto the stables. So we obviously take out all the poo, but because they're in Orbeos and deep littered, we don't have to worry about the wee until like a week, and then we dig it all out. So it's very quick and easy to do, and obviously all the excess hay that they didn't want, that gets in the wheelbarrow as well, because obviously they don't want to eat it. So Maria's is exactly the same, picking up all the poo, sweeping back the bed, and then she actually didn't leave any hay, which was very exciting. The boys in the field get some hay as well, mainly because Thunder is a skinny legend, and then Tiny always looks quite upset if he doesn't eat any hay. I like to tie it up in like a little parcel so that it's easy to take up.
So now we just need to pop some pills because Thunder needs it, because he's got Cushing's. He's not a drug addict, I swear. In fact, he doesn't really even like taking them, so he's definitely not addicted to them. But yes, we need to go feed this Thunder, give the little guy some hay, because Tiny gets jealous of Thunder, but Thunder's the one who really needs it. So Tiny gets like a handful of hay, and Thunder gets most of the hay.
So loading up the wheelbarrow again, because I will have to revisit the muck heap with all the stuff from the stables. So I kind of take it up halfway, pick up my little parcel of hay to deliver it to the boys out in the field. As you can see, Thunder is standing there waiting perfectly.
I think it's golden hour now. I'm glowing. Do you want some hay, Thunder? Yeah?
While I'm in the field, I have to give Thunder his tablet. So as you can see, he's not best pleased, but he does take it. Sometimes I do have to force it in his mouth because obviously he needs it to survive. But he's all good. What I like to do with the hay is to spread it out in the field for two reasons. One, so that he has to walk around, which stops him getting as stiff. And the second one is because he likes to pee on his hay.
Thunder and the cows who are looking kind of jealous of him. And then there's Tiny. He can't even see, but he knows Thunder's got hay. And he'd just be really jealous, so I give him like a handful or something. Hey, Trouble! Would you like a handful? There you go.
So while the two 20-year-olds start digging into their hay, I've got to empty the wheelbarrow for the second time. I didn't get quite an out-to shot, but you know, it works. Tilly was in the way, so I had to ask her to move very politely, and she obliged in the end. And then, yeah, dumping it out. And that's the last wheelbarrow trip of the day, which is good because it is a tiny bit of a trek up to the muck heap. But in a way, that's good because I don't want the poo down by the stables. Next is to do all the waters. So the hose doesn't quite reach Freddy's stables, so we just use a bucket to fill it up, which is no problem at all. He doesn't really drink much anyway, so just a little top up. And then every now and then we will scrub out the buckets to make sure there's no algae or nasty stuff staying in there. So after Fred's, I like to do Maria's because Fred doesn't drink much. I'll just use the same bucket to top up Maria's rather than getting the hose out and all of that. So yeah, just topping up Maria's. She tends to drink more than Freddy. I don't know why, she just does. She's not that much bigger than him, but she just tends to drink a little bit more. After that, all the stables are done, so we'll shut the doors and it's ready for the morning.
Wash out the buckets, and then there's only one job left, which is making up the feeds. But before we can start on actually making the feeds, we have to make sure the buckets are nice and clean. So to do this, we just spray them with water, especially the boys, because the bottoms have been in the grass, so they will be a little bit dirtier than Freddy's and Maria's. Yeah, that was spraying everywhere. It wasn't actually filling up the buckets. So that's not normally in the routine. I'm normally pretty good at making sure it actually fills up the bucket. But anyway, that happened today. So, you know, let those dry for a minute while the bucket fills up, and then it's all good. It's all done. That was very quick. I did cut a little bit out. It did take a little bit longer than that. Just gonna reel the hose in and make sure it's all nice and tidy, and then it's all ready to make some buckets. So the first thing I do is to put all the water in the buckets. It might seem a little bit weird, but I always find it's the easiest thing to do. So Tiny gets one, and Thunder and Freddy get like 2 each, I think, and then it's time to make some feeds. So Freddy gets half a cup of Soothing Gain, I think. The feeds have slightly changed. And Thunder gets half a cup of Veteran Vitality because he's a veteran. And then it's some Calming Condition into Fred's. Then for Tiny's feed, he just gets a bit of Fast Fibre into each of the buckets. And then we're on to the supplements. So we have some Suspicious White Powder, which is some joint supplement. Then some vitamins and minerals, as well as some biotin to make sure all the ponies are happy and healthy. Then we add some chaff, so there's Fred's. And then we're going to add some for Tiny. So he just gets a little bit of a handful in each of his buckets. He quite enjoys that. He quite likes his food. And then we're going to give them a little bit of a mix up so that all of it is combined, stack them up so they're ready for tomorrow, and then it's time to cover them up so that rats and mice and horrible stuff don't get in. Okay, I did say that was the last thing to do, but because I've got a little bit more time today, I thought I'd go spread the fields with hay because it's a good way to replenish the grass, and I don't know, it's a good way to fill the time. Basically, I'm just going to pick up some of the waste hay and dump it on the fields because we found that some of the dormant grass seeds actually help the grass grow back. So yeah, I don't know. Thank you for watching today's video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe and share to anyone and everyone because it does help with the algorithm, and I'll see you in the next one.
It's been a minute since I found someone who makes me wanna know a thing about love, but oh my god, I'm seeing stars with you. Tend to keep myself from diving in. I got get fed up with the sink or swim. But oh my